Hello, friends. If this is your first time joining us, or if you have been with us over the last several Thursday nights, I want to take a moment to thank you for joining us. I never want to take for granted the fact that you have carved out moments like this to be a part of these important and empowering sessions. I'm Pastor Benjamin Wilson, and I want to thank you and welcome you all to Leadership Impact Night. Y'all, we are in store for something great tonight. Let's dive right into the session and the content for tonight. Have you ever had a moment where you questioned yourself? Not just what you do, but who you are. Maybe you're in a season right now where the pressure is heavy, the expectations are high, and the silence is loud. You're trying to build, trying to lead, grow, show up, and part of you is wondering if you are really built for this at all. Whether you're a CEO, a coach, a parent, a pastor, a partner, a creator, or someone just trying to stay the course, you've probably had that moment where the weight felt like it was way too much. If that's you, I want you to know that you are not alone. This session is for you. Tonight's session is for you. What if I told you that everything you're facing, every challenge you're navigating, every fear that you're fighting has already been factored into the way that you have been designed? That the pressure you're under isn't evidence of that you're weak, is proof that you're stronger than you know. It's all connected to the fact that you weren't just called to lead, you were built to lead. Again, this is Leadership Impact Night. This isn't just another motivational moment. This is not that. This is a time for clarity, a time for elevation and breakthrough. We don't need more noise. We need direction. And every single week we gather in this space, not to be impressed, but to be empowered. Not just to take notes and sit on them, but to take dominion in the areas where we have been called to lead. So whether you're here as a leader in the workplace, a leader in your home, in ministry, or in your business, or just someone who is committed to growth, I want you to know this. And catch this. Leadership is not a title, it's a calling. Leadership is influence. And influence doesn't start when you feel ready, it starts when you accept responsibility. This session is about helping you lead well, even when you don't feel like you are enough. In those moments where insecurity shows up, when fear creeps in, and when failure tries to convince you to stop what you're doing. The truth is, most people assume that strong leaders are fearless. But let me tell you something that might just shift your entire mindset about leadership. You don't become a great leader because you never doubt. You become a great leader because you lead anyway, in spite of the doubt, in spite of the questions. Tonight, we're going to talk about not just the wins of leadership, but the weight of leadership. Not just the platform, but the pressure. If you've ever been silently struggling while publicly succeeding, if you've been carrying more than you can say out loud, if you've been building, stretching, adjusting, and believing, and still wondered if you were out of your head or over your head, you are not broken, you are not behind, you are not disqualified. You are becoming. And the more the pressure intensifies, the more evident it becomes, the fact becomes that you were built for this. Just because something feels heavy doesn't mean that it's wrong. Friends, we live in a culture that associates struggle with failure. We're told that if it's not easy, maybe it's not for you. That if it's uncomfortable, you must be out of alignment. But real leadership, real purpose, it comes with weight. And here's what most people miss. And I don't want you to miss it, so I'm going to bring it up and make it clear. The weight you carry is not proof that you're unworthy, it's confirmation that you are trusted. God doesn't place weight on things or people that don't have the infrastructure to hold it. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Now pause there for a moment. Friends, this isn't just about religious comfort. It's a principle about reinforcement. The presence of weight doesn't mean absence of strength. In fact, strength is often revealed in the middle of pressure, not in the absence of it. Imagine a steel bridge. Engineers don't design a bridge just to look good. They build it to hold something. And that bridge isn't truly tested until weight hits it, until trucks begin to roll across it, until the storms beat against it, until the traffic is nonstop. That's when you find out what it's made of. And that's when you find out what you were made of as well. When the storms hit, some of you are under pressure right now. This very moment, you're watching this, and the pressure is there. The pressure is raising a family or leading a team. The pressure of making decisions when nobody sees your sleepless nights. There's a pressure of being strong for everyone else while you're privately questioning your own strength and sometimes even your own worth. But listen to me, the weight didn't come to crush you. It came to confirm you. What did it come to confirm? It came to confirm that you are durable. It came to confirm that you're grounded, that you're capable of more than you thought, that the design inside you is stronger than the pressure outside of you. People will look at your life and they see fruit, but not the framework. They'll see your confidence, but not the process. They'll see the platform, but not the pressure it took to stand on it. And they'll also, a lot of times they'll assume you were always just built like that. But what they don't realize is that being built for this isn't always feeling strong. It's about refusing to break. It's about showing up when it would be easier to shut down. It's about carrying the weight without using it as an excuse to drop your calling. And it's about trusting the one who designed you, who knows your wiring, knows how you're made up, knows your weak points, knows your capacity, also factored in every ounce of what you need to carry it right now. I want to hit you with something that's a mindset reframe. You're not being buried, you're being built. Just like concrete needs weight to settle. Friends, that's what's happening to you. Just like muscles need resistance to grow, just like a leader needs pressure to rise, you are not falling apart. You are being formed. And every ounce of weight you're carrying is revealing the architecture of someone who is not average. You were never built for lightweight leadership. You were built to carry the mantle of influence, to carry the tension of vision, to carry the responsibility of impact. You were built for this. Now I want to go a layer deeper because for many of us, it's not just the weight of carrying that feels heavy. It's the weight of if the weight that it's the weight that starts to whisper. It's the silent narratives forming in our minds. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm over my head. Maybe, just maybe, they picked the wrong person. Y'all, I have been there. It's one thing to feel pressure, but it's another thing when the pressure starts to make you question your identity. And if we're honest, some of the greatest battles we fight don't happen around us. They happen within us. We talked about this a couple weeks about the battle within us because being one of the most dangerous enemies, let me change that. The most dangerous enemy isn't the one that's outside. It's the one that's between our ears. Let's talk about that quiet voice, the one that shows up before the big moment, before the tough decision, before the next step. Let's talk about insecurity. Friends, insecurity is loud. It doesn't just whisper, it shouts. And it always shows up at the very worst time, right when you're about to step into something new. Insecurity. Right before the meeting, the launch, the proposal, the stage, before you hit send on the email, the interview, the opportunity, the voice creeps in and it begins to speak. You're not ready. You're not smart enough. You're not qualified. They're going to find out that you don't belong. They're going to find out that you're a fraud. Does that sound familiar? That's not coincidence. That's spiritual warfare. We call it spiritual sabotage. It's mental warfare at the intersection of purpose. Because insecurity rarely attacks where you are, it always attacks where you're going. When God called Moses in Exodus, what's the first thing that Moses did? We talked about it before. He didn't jump up and say, "Yes, let's go. I've been ready for this." No, no, no. He said, "I don't speak well." He literally replied, I am not eloquent. I've never been good with words. That's in one of the other versions. Excuse my paraphrase. That wasn't humility, y'all. That was insecurity disguised as logic. Moses tried to use his weaknesses as a reason why God should pick someone else. And we've all done that before. But here's the lesson: God doesn't argue with Moses' insecurity. He just says, go and I will help you speak. I will teach you what to say. In other words, I already know about the insecurity. I already know what you are not capable to do, and I still chose you. Let's slow this down a bit and get this deep into who we are, into our spirits. Your insecurity is not a sign that you're disqualified. It's a sign that God wants to work through your dependency. Leadership was never meant to be done from a place of ego. It's done from a place of alignment. And insecurity, when rightly framed, reminds you of your need to stay grounded. It keeps us teachable. It keeps us connected. It keeps us seeking. It keeps us surrendered. Now, let me talk to the leader who's been measuring themselves against someone else. We talked about it last week, this comparison trap. Comparing your voice to theirs. You're comparing your pace, your style to theirs. You're even comparing your visibility to theirs. I want to set you free tonight. Leadership Impact Night is about setting people free. Comparison is a thief that partners with insecurity to rob you of your calling. Comparison is the thief of comparison partners with insecurity to rob you of your calling. Check this out, friends. You don't have to sound like them. You don't have to build like them. You don't have to move and speak like them. You just have to move like you. The version of you that God designed, the one that has been refined and called. I want to give you something that I hope that you're going to that you can save and carry with you. Insecurity highlights gap. Insecurity highlights the gap. Grace fills the gap, but obedience bridges the gap. You don't have to be the most polished. You don't have to be the most eloquent. You don't have to be the most charismatic. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, this is speaking to me because a lot of times those things have kept me from stepping out and doing what I know that God has called me to do. However, I'm at a space right now, and this is evidence of it, that where I'm tired of allowing that thing to silence me. I'm not the most eloquent. I'm not the most educated. I'm not the most charismatic. I stutter sometimes. I trip over my words. I get mixed up all the time, but that is not going to stop me, and it shouldn't stop you. You just have to say yes and keep walking. I'm saying yes, and I'm continuing to do these videos. I know I'm stumbling over words. I know I get excited and have to calm myself down like right now. But we have to do it anyway. We lead because we have been called to. We step out because we know that this is what God is calling us to do right now in this moment. Friends, you're not leading because you're fearless. You're leading because you're faithful. Hold on to that because it makes all the difference. So if insecurity is the inner voice that questions your worth, there's another thing. If that's the inner voice, fear is the outer force that challenges your movement. Check that out. Where insecurity is whispering, fear is roaring. And the crazy part is that it doesn't even have to be true, because fear doesn't need facts to be effective. It just needs a moment of hesitation, a pause in your confidence, a crack in your momentum. And it takes that to speak something that feels real, even if it's rooted in a lie. So let's jump right into it. Let's expose fear. Let's expose the fear that's been trying to paralyze your next step. 2 Timothy 1:7 says this: For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Watch this. That verse doesn't say that you won't feel fear. It just makes it clear where fear comes from and where it didn't come from. Which means, as a leader, when fear shows up, your first question shouldn't be, what if it's true? It should be, where did this come from? Because if fear is not from God, then it doesn't deserve authority in my mind. It doesn't deserve authority in my decisions, my pace, my vision, or my voice. I'm going to give this thing to you straight. I'm hitting the mic here. Fear is a liar, but it's a strategic liar. It doesn't speak when you're sitting still. It speaks when you're advancing. It speaks when you're moving. It speaks when you're stepping into something new. It speaks when you're close to something that matters. Fear knows timing. And its goal isn't to inform you, it's to immobilize you. Because fear doesn't just want you to question the outcome. No, it wants you to cancel the assignment. I want to tell you something that I've learned. It took me a while to learn it, but I've learned it. Fear doesn't come to visit the uncalled. It comes to intimidate the anointed. If you weren't dangerous to darkness, fear wouldn't waste its voice on you. So the fact that it's speaking, the fact that it's loud, that's not a sign to pull back. That's a signal to press in. Because fear is loudest at the gates of breakthrough. It shouts when you're stepping into unfamiliar territory. It screams when you're about to make a bold move, and it rises up right when God is raising you up. I want to drop something here that I want you to write down, or maybe sometime you can save it, clip it to put it in your feed later. Fear is not the enemy of faith. It's the opportunity for faith. If you've never felt fear, you've never had to exercise faith. Faith doesn't need a comfortable environment. It needs a committed leader. One who says, I feel it, I see it, I understand it, I hear it, but I'm moving forward anyway. I want to get practical with you for a second. Some of you haven't made the call, haven't launched that idea. You haven't had the conversation. You haven't sent that email. You haven't stepped onto the stage, not because you don't have the plan, but you haven't done it because fear convinced you to wait until you feel more ready. But friends, let me help you. Readiness is not a feeling. Readiness is a decision. Courage is not built in the absence of fear. You've heard this. It's a commitment to move in spite of fear. So here's what I want you to hear, and I need you to hear me clearly. You're not weak because you feel fear. You're a warrior because you don't let fear win. You're still showing up, still leading, still building, still believing. And fear's voice, no matter how loud it gets, cannot cancel God's plan. So stand your ground, refuse to bow, and remind fear of something it hopes that you forget. You don't answer to fear, you answer to purpose. If fear fails to keep you from starting, because that's what it wants to do, fear tries to immobilize you. It doesn't inform you. Fear tries to immobilize you. But there are some times that fear fails in its job. If fear fails to keep you from starting, it has a friend, and that friend is failure. Failure comes along whenever fear fails to keep you from starting. Fear, its friend, comes along to convince you to stop. And that voice, maybe you've heard it. You messed up too bad this time. You blew your shot. You don't think you are not ready for this. You're not who you think you are. Because if you were, you wouldn't have failed this miserably. But here's the truth. Failure is not final. Failure is a forge. It's not the end of your story. It's the fire that refines your strength, sharpens your purpose, and develops your depth. Proverbs 24:16 says, though righteousness falls 7 times, though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Though they fall 7 times, they rise again. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say the righteous never fall. It says they fall, but they rise over and over and over again, which means failure is not the absence of righteousness. It's a part of the path of the righteous. Falling doesn't cancel your identity. Staying does. When you stay fallen, that is what cancels your identity. When you stay in that messed up space, when you stay in the space of failure, when you soak in failure, that is the thing that begins to shape, to shift and change your identity. Let me change that. It doesn't change your identity. You get to a place where you begin to deny your identity. You begin to accept you begin to accept what fear and what fear and failure are calling you. It's like it's calling you by a different name and you start to respond to it because you're stuck in that space of failure. Friends, that is not who you are. Don't stick there to the point where it cancels your identity. Move, get to move and step up and cancel out that fear. I want to speak directly to the leader who's been struggling with regret now. The thing you wish you could take back. That decision that you look back and you are ashamed of it. That season in your life that you still haven't told anybody about. God does his best work in what other people walk away from. Check this out. David failed. Peter failed. Moses failed. And yet God used every single one of them in powerful ways. Why? Because failure doesn't stop God. And if you surrender to it, it won't stop you. If you don't surrender to it, it won't stop you either. Let me give you a practical reframe for your leadership. Failure is feedback. Failure is formation. Failure is fuel. You've probably heard those things before. The most effective leaders aren't the ones who never fail. They're not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who know how to learn from their fall. They grow in the fire and they rise again with more wisdom than they had before. They know how to mine failure for gold. They don't just survive it, they steward it. They know how to steward failure. They ask, what did this teach me about myself? What did this expose about my systems? What will I now do differently because of this? I want to pause and insert this to you right now because I have the feeling that someone needs it. A failure is not proof that you're finished. It's evidence that you're in the right fight. It's evidence that you're fighting right because people who aren't trying don't fail. People who don't dream, they don't fall short. The people who take risk, the people who lead, who build, who stretch, they are the ones that mess up. My goodness, they are the ones that will sometimes drop the ball. They are the ones that will sometimes miss the moment. They will they're the ones who will have to make a comeback. And you know what? That's fine. That's okay. Because failure doesn't define you. Obedience defines you. Resilience refines you. Redemption refines you. Defines you. Let me say something to someone right now. What felt like the end, what embarrassed you, what almost made you give up, almost made you walk away and quit, will become the part of your story that launches you into your next level. The forge doesn't feel good, but it forms something essential. It burns away the ego. It strengthens the integrity. It purifies the motives. It elevates your character. So if you're still replaying the moment you wish never happened, stop it. If you're still walking with a limp from the hit you took, that's okay. If you're wondering if the people who saw you fall can ever respect you again, get that out of your mind. Let me say this to you. God saw the fall and he still kept the assignment in place. The fall did not cancel the call. The flame didn't destroy you, friends. It refined you. Because you're not just a leader with experience, you're a leader who's been forged. Now I want to go right back to where we started. You were built for this. And I don't say that to be a motivational catchphrase. I say that as a revelation. Because when God designed you, he didn't just give you gifts. He gave you grit. When he gave you purpose, he also gave you durability. When he gave you vision, he also gave you endurance. And when he gave you your assignment, he already factored in every detour, every delay, every fear, every flaw, every failure. Ephesians 2:10. We are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Let that sink in. Before you ever walked into battle, before you ever took a step in leadership, before you ever took the hit, before you ever heard the rejection, felt the pressure, fought with fear, or faced failure, before any of it, the work was already prepared. And more than that, the worker was already equipped. The worker is you. You were built for this. You were built for the wait. You were built for the fight. You were built for the moments that feel bigger than you are. You were designed. Yeah, I'm sorry, you were not designed to break under pressure. You were not designed to break under pressure. You were built and you were designed to rise above it. Because what's in you is stronger than what's coming against you. You were built with insight. You were built with instinct. You were built with spiritual stamina. You were built with tenacity. You were built with grace for your lane. I want to give it to you like this. I want to give it to you. This isn't a season to second guess your build. It's a season to trust your design. Your design, everything that you've walked through, every unanswered prayer, every door that was closed in your face, every painful lesson, every quiet night, every lonely night, every tear, every lonely leadership moment, it's all been shaping you, stretching you, preparing you for the season that you're in right now. You weren't just being tested, you were being trusted. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop apologizing for your assignment. I want you to stop downplaying your leadership. I need you to stop minimizing your impact. Stop waiting for permission to step into the role that God already built, especially for you. You don't need confirmation to be courageous. You need to know what's inside of you. Because when the pressure hits, when the fear rises, when the failure comes knocking, when the doubt begins to shout, you don't crumble because you know who you are. You remember that you're not here by accident. You remember that you're not leading on borrowed grace. You remember that you're not standing on shaky ground. You remember that you were built for this. You were built for this very moment. You were built for every battle. You were built to carry out this leadership God has placed on you. And what I want you to do right now, if you're able, I want you to repeat after me, and I need you to say this out loud. I need you to hear you speaking it. I don't need you to hear my voice calling it into the atmosphere. I need you to hear it saying yourself. I don't do this often, especially in moments like this, but this is important. I need you to say to yourself, I was built for this. I was built for the boardroom. I was built for the battlefield. I was built for the calling. I was built for the comeback. I was built for the wait. I was built for the win. I was built for this. I want to take these next few minutes to give you a charge. Don't quit. Don't retreat. Don't shrink back. Don't shrink back from what you've been called to carry. You may not have all the answers. That's okay. You may not feel 100% confident. That's okay. You may still be shaking off the dust from your last battle. That's okay. Why? Because you're still standing. And that alone is evidence that God isn't finished, and neither are you. So walk like someone who knows that they were built for this. Say, I was built for this. I was built to lead. I was built to influence. I was built to shift culture. I was built to break cycles. I was built to leave legacy. I was built to carry this assignment with excellence, integrity, and courage. I want you to say it one more time. Say it out loud, or if you can't, say it in your spirit. I was built for this. I was built for this. I was built for this. Friends, I want you to share with me. If this particular, not share with me, I'm sorry. If this session hit you, if it gave you clarity, if it gave you fuel and fire, I don't want you to sit on it. I need you to share this with somebody else. I want you to tap to join Savage Initiatives. DM me in the direct message me the word roar. ROAR. direct message me the word roar so that we can connect and we can go deeper into this, and you'll be able to get in contact with me as well as some of the other things that we're doing through Savage Initiatives as well as Destiny Connections. If you want more truth, clarity, and content that helps you walk with God, lead with power, and live in purpose, I want you to follow and subscribe. Make sure you connect with Destiny Connections as well. We're building something here, something powerful, something lasting, and you were never meant to lead alone. Now, before you go, I want to share something with you about what's coming next week. Because if today helped you navigate the way, if it helped you navigate the fear, the insecurity, and the failure, friends, next week we are going deeper. Next week we're shifting from the visible battles to the invisible ones, the ones happening beneath the surface. We've talked about the inner critic and all of that, but we're going to talk about something else. The strength to lead well on the outside starts with alignment on the inside. The next session I'm excited about, the next session is called Built Inside Out, the power of internal alignment. We're going to be talking about identity, rhythm, discipline, and soul alignment. Because burnout, confusion, and compromise don't start with strategy, they start with misalignment. And if you're going to carry everything that you've been called to build, everything that you've been called to carry, you've got to be anchored in what can be and what cannot be shaken. So I'll see you next week right here for Leadership Impact Night. I am looking forward to the time with you. I'm actually going to be moving the time back from 7 o'clock to 7:30, still staying within that the half hour time to make sure it gives you plenty of time. But there's some things I have to do in my own home. At 7 o'clock, I'm always pushing right up against the clock. And so I said, you know what? As much as I want to show up at 7 o'clock, I would rather show up more consistently and fully. And so what we're going to do, we're going to push things back just a half hour. And so we're going to be going from about 7:30 to about 8:15, still finishing around the same time or earlier than we had thought. But we're going to be moving our time back at 7 o'clock. So Thursdays moving forward at 7:30. Leadership Impact Night. Until we meet again next week, keep leading, keep building, and never ever forget you were built for this. I'm Pastor Benjamin Wilson. This is Leadership Impact Night, and we'll see you next week.